Recorded Books presents The Path to Loving Ourselves, Learning Radical Acceptance and Forgiveness by Shelly Tygielski, narrated by the author.
Segment 1. What if I asked you to name all the things you love and you started to rattle them off? How long would it take you to name yourself? Would you ever? Hi, I'm Shelly Tygielski, a self-care activist, trauma-informed mindfulness teacher, and author, and I'm incredibly humbled that you have joined me for this journey, the path to loving ourselves, learning radical acceptance and forgiveness. You may have decided to embark on this path because you struggle with self-worth or acceptance of the past. Perhaps you have a lot of ambivalence about the future. Or maybe you face regret and remorse that seems insurmountable about life decisions or the cards you were dealt. Maybe you just want to get more in touch with yourself, and you keep reading about or hearing about this radical notion of self-love. Some people may dispute that self-love is selfish, but I would counter any argument and say that the best version of the world starts with the best version of ourselves, and that the road to loving anyone, or anything for that matter, has to start with loving yourself. So sure, there's just all of this polarization and oppression and violence and news that can be so painful in this world that we are living in, and yet, at the same time, never in the history of the world have so many people been consciously dedicating themselves to waking up their hearts and their minds. This is your dedication to yourself. And while we surely have to wait to see how things end up on a global level, for today, at least, we can work on going inward. Some of the ways I think about all of this, these forces of fear and those of awakening, are that we are watching the brain and we are experiencing the dominance of the survival brain. And it takes hold in our own bodies and minds and also in societies. And we also see the currents of where the brain is waking up in an integrated way, and you see the more recently evolved brain in action. Letting ourselves be touched by what matters, reaching out and caring because others are part of our heart. These are the forces that are now at work. The first step in waking up compassion, meaning having a little more dedication to that awakened heart, is to know that it starts with mindfulness. For compassion to be really fully blooming, it requires that we are aware of what's happening. Like that we're able to see and contact without judgment what is happening in our life. That means that we can start recognizing, oh, I'm blaming, or I'm the victim, or that I'm cut off. The poet Rumi said, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you've built against it." Therefore, we must be present to that and become mindful, stopping in our tracks and sensing, oh, I'm creating separation. Almost like a scanner. If I were to be scanning your life right now, I'd be sensing, where have you created separation? And if you were scanning your own life right now, you'd be sensing, where have I created separations? Are any of these separations making me feel more fractured within myself? What's really interesting is that this oft-used Rumi quote actually has another piece to it. And I didn't learn about this piece until about 3 years ago, because I share this quote quite a lot. And that other piece is this, that you find the barriers and you embrace them. In other words, we don't judge ourselves for pushing others away, but we actually bring kindness to that too. I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm actually going to ask you to choose somewhere that you feel you're caught in blaming, and see if you can explore waking up around that. One of the things that I find useful in thinking about this is a circle, and this is Joseph Campbell. He
Sample complete. Ready to continue?